Services. That is Mr. Edward Kieswetter at a media briefing in Pretoria. Let's cross there now.
How to render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and that's him. And also to publicly express our gratitude for him accepting the appointment by the President to be the Commissioner of the South African Revenue Services. I indicated to him that I have no intention of interfering with his work except to set the revenue targets. That's the only thing that I'm going to do, and the rest is really up to him to perform his functions without fear, favor, or prejudice. So I'm very pleased indeed that the President appointed him. It might be early days for him to answer the many questions that you want to ask, but I think between him and Mark, they'll be able to walk you through whatever you want. For my part, let me just end up by saying that we have witnessed practically the destruction of a good institution, and the weakening of SARS has major implications for the functioning of the South African state. Therefore, what we witnessed happening at SARS is of very, very serious state implications. It was, I think, within that context that the President had appointed the Nugent Commission of Inquiry to look into what was going on at SARS. And the judge's recommendations were, amongst others, that we should appoint a new SARS commissioner immediately, and that we should appoint an independent selection panel which will be composed of people of integrity, which will interview the candidates for this position and make a recommendation to the President. This is what the panel has done, and the recommendation was for Commissioner Ed, as I say. And it is within that context that the President agreed to appoint him. Now, in addition, the Nugent Commission made a number of recommendations about what to do in future in the administration and management of tax in South Africa. Those are issues which will be taken forward by the new commissioner. So that's all I wanted to say. And if you want to say something, first maybe you start. Just open the thing. Open it. And press there. Yes.
Okay. Well, good afternoon. It's obviously a auspicious time for a new commissioner to be appointed. We need to acknowledge that much work needs to be done. I've had fun, Minister, over the last year in fulfilling this role and enjoyed every minute of it. Many challenges, though. But we as a staff at SARS, welcome Edward. We obviously know him, and we welcome him on board, and we're going to give him every support, Minister, as the South African Revenue Service in rebuilding the organisation to an organisation that we can be proud of, and giving you the revenue to do what you need to do within the country. And that's the most important part. But it's been a privilege from my side in doing this role, and I'm looking forward to taking the organisation forward in whatever role I fulfill going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you for the warm introduction. You know, for our democracy to work, we need a well-functioning revenue authority, one that is respected, not feared, one that is admired, and the one that can be trusted. And therefore, in accepting this role, it is an inordinate privilege and an honor to be called to serve in such an important role. And as I reflect on assuming this role, I am mindful of the inordinately large challenge that lies ahead. The Minister referred to the unfortunate erosion of capability and capacity within the organization, but also the unfortunate erosion of public trust and confidence in the organization. So I think the first order of business is to ensure that there's some level of continuity. I think Mark Kingon has done a sterling job in filling in, during a very difficult time, in filling in the role of acting commissioner. And I've already told Mark that I will rely on his years of expertise, his experience, but also his commitment. I call him a SARS lifer. And I'm going to rely on that to provide some continuity, but also I think immediately focus internally on rebuilding the confidence and trust of our employees. There are many thousands of honest, hardworking, committed men and women, many of whom I know, that make this machinery of SARS tick. And they have read over the last few years and months negative press about their employer, their organization, and we need to take them back into our confidence and inspire them to be the best that they can be in the interest of SARS and in the interest of our country. And then, of course, also externally build public confidence and trust. We know that there's a direct correlation between the confidence that the public has in SARS and the level of compliance that we have, and the level of compliance has a direct correlation on the level of revenue that we are able to collect. And then, of course, I always say people, everything begins and ends with people, and that's why I share with you my first two priorities will be to address internally and engage our employees, and externally to engage the public of South Africa. But very importantly, also important is to immediately address the deficits in revenue, to ensure that the work that Mark has already done together with the team, that we accelerate that work so that the target that the Minister gives, we can also give him the level of confidence that we will leave no stone untouched to ensure that every cent that is due to the fiscus is collected. And those who think that they've had a tax holiday, Minister, over the last few years, their holiday has ended. And without fear or favor, and with the help of rebuilding a leadership team at SARS, because this is not a one-man show. This is a work that requires a strong leadership team and a committed workforce. But we are ready and committed to do the work that is required. And of course, thankful that we have your support and the support of the President in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think well put. And I mean, Mark was holding the fort for quite a while, and I think the government really would like to thank you for your commitment to the organization, but your commitment to the country. You know, a very rare show of patriotism that really is appreciated, and I've made you do some very difficult tasks recently. I'm sure by now you've collected a number of Ferraris and attached a number of houses, and gotten us some of the cash that was being hidden somewhere. And so really I would like to thank you for holding the fort so well, and I appreciate the fact that you will be staying on to work with Commissioner Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you have to go to the MPC press conference. Are there any questions? Yes, ma'am. Tell us who you are. Open the thing. Open the flap. Yeah.
I know we have to go to the MPC meeting, but just very quickly, just give us up to speed regarding, I don't know if we're supposed to ask about the strike. Did you meet this morning? You said you were in discussions with the unions. Have you met them? Are you yet to meet them? Maybe just a very quick explanation as to what's going on.
No, I don't want to discuss the strike here. I came here to introduce you to the new commission. The strike, you can go to the SARS press conference to discuss that. Not here. No strike here. Any next question?
I have a question.
Where are you?
It's Heidi Jones from the NCA.
Yeah.
I just want to know if there are any plans to appoint a deputy SARS commissioner. I know that was one of the recommendations in the Nugent Commission, and there is no deputy SARS commissioner at the moment. Is that in the pipeline?
The Nugent Commission was very clear about their proposed executive committee setup. I'm sure once the new commissioner has settled down, he's going to apply his mind to that, and that will be dealt with in due course, but not today. Thank you. Next one. Yes, ma'am. Open the thing.
Robinson from.
No, hang on. Yes.
Aware of it from your newspaper. I was actually more thinking of what makes you thinking of.
Good, please proceed.
What next? One of my roles which I fulfilled up till now was I've dismantled in the last year, so it's going to be in support of Edward in whichever capacity that he believes will best add value to the organisation. I think, as he said, I'm a SARS lifer. I've got experience across the board, and in fact I think the experience has many more years has fitted into this past year in terms of my experience, but we'll be there in support in the rebuilding. That is all I can say at this point in time.
Okay, next one.
Robinson from Eyewitness News. Minister, there were questions about the processes that went.
Who asked the questions?
Robinson from Eyewitness News.
No, I'm saying who asked the questions?
Okay, so there are political parties and unions that are saying that.
Which political party?
You have the EFF, for instance, you have Nehau, who were busy protesting today, saying that there was no transparency in terms of the process followed in the appointment of the commissioner. Your answer to that, and secondly, are you confident that the new commissioner will turn things around? There's a big question around restoring the confidence as well.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you read what is in the website about the process? Yeah, I can't hear you. You have not read it. Okay, this is one of the problems that we face from time to time. Nevertheless, on the website of the National Treasury, and I think of SARS too, there is a document which is the report from the panel about the process that they went through. It will show you how transparent the process was and who participated and how they came to the conclusion. The silly thing that has happened with one or two political organizations is that they issued a statement even before the decisions were announced, which is unfortunate. So on the website we describe in detail the process that was gone through, very transparent and very open as far as I'm concerned. But you'll see from the report, we don't have enough time, but you'll see from the report. Do you think you can rebuild the institution? I thought you answered that, but you can say.
Well, I think, as I said before, this is a work that will require all the help I can get, and I've already reached out, as I said, to Mark, and we will continue to start working immediately to ensure that we identify those who are like-minded and those who are aligned. It's a daunting task, so I don't think one walks into it arrogantly believing that it's just going to be a walk in the park. But I think within SARS there are competent people that we will rely on, and of course personally we will also need the help and support of our families, because we don't come into this world alone. I have my wife there, for example, and she carries not the burden, but she will have to provide moral support, and so the rest of my family. So I think I'm confident that with the help we'll get, the support we'll get, this is something that we can fix and will.
Thank you very much. I think that brings to an end CNBC Africa.
Thank you, Minister. My question is for the acting commissioner and the commissioner designate. For the acting commissioner, among the early morning moods, if you will, among the how member cities was that, they wanted you to go away, and I think about your intention to stay with SARS. So I want to talk about
and don't worry, Nahau is going to deal with the issues, but I am grateful that Mark is staying to work, and that's what is important. If Nahau has any issues, they should come and have a discussion with me. Yeah.
For the commissioner designate, this is your second stint in SARS. The business unit you used to head has been since dismantled. Now, as a man who knows SARS and who has been here before, there must be some low-hanging fruits that you think can be used to turn around this institution. What do you think?
Well, I think thankfully Mark has already begun to reinstitute the Large Business Centre and many other of the capacities that have been renewed, and we will continue to build on that. The low-hanging fruit is a message to all of you to say, pay your taxes, because I think we will be committed to find out those who are delinquent in paying their taxes, and so that's where we start. Every citizen must pay.
And that's a very important culture that has to permeate through our society. It is within that context, for example, that I'm very, very unhappy with the decision by the SANRAL board not to pursue those who have been defaulting on the e-tolls. It's a very bad decision. They should never have taken that decision. It is not helpful in the bond market. It is undermining what we have said in the budget, that we support the user must pay principle, and they must reverse that decision immediately, or else this has implications for the bond market, there's implications for the fiscus, it has implications for their own credit rating and the credit rating for the country. So they must reverse it, and people must learn that you don't take careless decisions in the middle of a very difficult financial situation. So pay your taxes, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Of course, that was Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, of course, introducing the new Commissioner of the South African Revenue Services there, Edward Kieswetter, former CEO there, of course, of Alexander Forbes as well. He does take over as the new SARS Commissioner. This follows, of course, a lengthy time in which we had Mark King on as the Commissioner of SARS on an interim basis, or a caretaker basis, shall we say, as well. And of course, before that, we did have Tom Moyane, whose relationship with SARS has ended in a very sour note, of course, and was seen to be unfit to hold office, a decision that he is still, of course, fighting. But, of course, a fresh start indeed. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, they're highlighting that he is indeed worried about the situation and wants to ensure that the ability to collect finances and funds then from the likes of the revenue services and, of course, consumers is one that must be done and held in high regard, and thinks that this would certainly be a fresh start. In relation to that news, of course, in about 4 minutes' time, the governor of the South African Reserve Bank, that's Lesetja Kganyago, will be making the announcement on whether to introduce higher interest rates, keep them the same, or perhaps drop them. The likelihood of any drop would be a 25 basis point one, but it is unlikely to come to fruition, with all 24 economists in a Reuters survey expecting that the MPC will keep interest rates unchanged. We will continue that discussion and get right into things as they proceed and when things kick off there with the Reserve Bank Governor. For now, let's take a quick break. We'll be back right after the short break.